Welcome back to Small College Conversations. I'm Kristen Eargle. I'm joined by Aleesha Rabedeaux, the William Penn Athletic Director. Thank you so much for being a part of us today.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Well, I was looking over your career. It just kind of stuck out to me that you were a volleyball coach, very successful in college, and then now moving into the AD role. How do you think it informs your role and just shapes how you view things?
I think having the coaching background has been important and valuable just in terms of being able to understand and relate to our coaches and maybe some of the struggles they're facing or some of the challenges they have. And, I'm able to be empathetic because in, kind of a way, I've probably been through some of that. And so I think they value that. They value the advice that I'm able to give. But for me, I think it also helps because I was able to understand myself being a student athlete, recruit student athletes, and then coach them. Being able to make decisions in this role that are going to impact, student athletes and the coaches, being able to be previously in that spot too, I think it helps because you have an understanding of what they need or what they want. And so I think it helps a lot. And I enjoyed my time coaching. I loved it. I really, I miss it to an extent, but I also love what I do every day now. So it's been a great transition for me overall.
And looking through your history here, you started your own volleyball club. You became a coach. Now you moved to administration. What are some of those key moments in your career that just truly shaped who you are and where you are today?
Yeah, I think, with club and coaching, those situations and having that experience has been important because I was able to, one, do it with my family, and that's been awesome. My mom still runs the club today with my little sister. But then ultimately be able to, face some failures too, try things and maybe they don't work out, they don't pan out, but okay, how are you going to overcome that? And I think every day we face, challenges and failures, and how you kind of overcome that is kind of who you are. And so I think for me, experiencing some of that early on helped me want to succeed even more, I think, especially in this role now. And, having that is, I think, made me who I am, but it also has made me maybe enjoy some of the successes, maybe a little bit more, understanding, it was hard to, I think starting out with coaching here at William Penn, when I started, they had won 6 conference games in 6 years. And so you took over a program that really needed some love and attention. And so being able to, have some failures early on, but then, build that program up with the girls and the staff and have that support here. I think just looking back on that is wow, that was really fun. And maybe it was hard in the moment, but looking back, it's just really good memories.
For sure. Who gave you your first shot at leadership, and how do you think you proved that you were ready for it?
Yeah. So when I was coaching here, specifically at William Penn, our athletic director at the time was Nick Rule, and he's now the commissioner of the Heart. And early on, he was really open about talking with me about what are your career aspirations? What do you want to do? And I was always really honest about it. And I was ultimately, I want to be an athletic director. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. And so I told him that early on. And so I think having that open dialogue with him helped because it allowed me to voice that to him. But then he understood. It's okay, well, here are some areas that we could use some help as an athletic department. And I think I was able to prove myself with just little things time by time. And then I was able to take on more in the department, and then eventually became the SWL assistant AD and then the associate AD later on. And so I think just proving myself with little by little, and then, being able to take a lot on. And I value Nick so much, who was a great mentor, still is a great mentor to me. And so just having that and having that trust with him, I think was really important. And I'm just really grateful that I got that opportunity. But then also with our president here at William Penn, John Otteson, he has been a great mentor as well. And he's instilled so much trust into me. And so just having those people who have believed in me and allowed me to, prove myself, I think has been beneficial.
For those that are watching, coaches that are watching right now, what advice would you give to them for those that want to transition into the administrative and become an athletic director like yourself?
Yeah, I think for me was, being able to voice that early on to our AD and my AD at the time and have those open conversations. And I know if I had a coach right now on our staff who was interested in it, I'm okay, let's get involved. What areas interest you? Let's start there. And, little by little, I don't want to take it away from, coaching and those coaching duties, but I think that there's enough room to be able to kind of spread your wings and kind of get a taste of everything and kind of get a feel if it's something that you truly want long-term. But then it also can help the department as a whole too. And I think the more we get involved, the better we're going to be overall, because we're going to have more minds, coming up with better ideas and hopefully bring all those ideas to fruition. And it's only going to help, the coaches and the department and the student athletes overall.
Now, in coaching, there's obviously challenges you face as well as being an AD. So what are some of those on your plate right now that you're navigating, and how are you tackling them?
Yeah. I think a lot of ADs are probably facing this right now. You've got, a ton of different athletic programs, lots of coaches, a lot of different needs, and it's balancing all of those needs at one time on any given day. Especially right now, we're in crossover season. So we've got tons of sports practicing. We've got scrimmages. We've got conference games. Soon we're going to be having, postseason games, and just balancing, making sure all of this is running seamless and smooth. But also, what are the needs? What facility needs a need? Is something broken? Do we need to fix that? Just trying to make sure we can create the best student athlete experience possible. And same for our coaches. I want them to be able to focus on coaching and recruiting, all those things, and not worry about the little details that, hopefully we can handle for them. But just trying to balance all that and create a great experience overall for everybody. That's our goal, every single day. And I think in the world of higher ed is just like, how can we continue to be forward and making forward progress? Like, how can we continue to make ourselves different against the other, schools in Iowa, the schools in the NAIA? And so I think as a team here in our athletic department team is like, how can we continue to be cutting edge? And so that's something that we're also facing. What are other people doing, and how can we either mimic that, or how can we make that even better? And so for us, facing that challenge, not necessarily a challenge, but it is a challenge, just wanting to make sure we're continuously, making forward progress, and we're not getting stuck in the moment or think, okay, we're doing okay right now. We want to continue to keep pushing forward. And so that's, a constant challenge that we're going to always have.
How many times do you have conversations with your counterparts in your conference? I mean, do you talk to the other ADs much?
Oh, yeah. I feel like, we talk as a group, I think every couple of weeks, always. But I think, I probably talk to somebody at least once a week, whether it's a game change and then we kind of just start talking in general, or, we have to have some type of conflict in the conference we got to come to a resolution on. But I think it's also really important because they have some of the same challenges that we're having. And so it's refreshing at times, and we're not going through something different, but to, like, how are you handling this situation? Okay, well, that's good. Like, maybe I can do something similar. So being able to have the people in our conference, and we have such great ADs in our conference, and having them help me. I know so many have reached out in my short time as AD and wanting to help and assist, and it's been really great.
Now, obviously, you have to hire staff and coaches, and of course, you have an insider on hiring coaches, being a former coach. What are some of those key things that you place a premium on when you're adding to your staff?
Yeah, we had to do that right away when I started as AD. So it's been a great process. And I think for me is the first step is like creating a really great team to help evaluate the, applications and review them and the candidates. And then kind of make sure we're all able to give good, honest feedback to each other so that we can really get the best possible person in place for that role. And so for us, we want to find somebody who's a really great teammate. I feel like when you're kind of going through the process, you can kind of tell if they're going to be easy to work with, or maybe they're going to pose some extra challenges. And if they are, that's fine. But I want to know what kind of teammate they're going to be. I think that's important. But also, I think how they build relationships and how they talk about themselves, but also talk about maybe their previous experiences is important, because that's how they're going to talk in their day-to-day work life. And that also, I think, is a clear indicator of how they are when they're recruiting. How are they building the relationships during that interview process? And I think that's important because as a coach, recruiting is such an important part of the job, and being able to recruit and relate to the student athletes. And our last couple hires have been really, really awesome, and I'm really excited about them. But they really proved themselves during that interview process about how important the relationship building component is. And seeing them walk the talk, I think, has been the best part, is in seeing them, build those relationships, start the recruiting process, and really doing everything that they said that they were going to do. But overall, I think going through those processes can be challenging, but I think they're also exciting because it's a great new opportunity to bring somebody new in again that's got new ideas, a fresh perspective, and they can continue to help us, build and progress forward.
You're fast paced, you get things done, you're driven. How do you stay balanced?
Yeah. I'm also a mom and I love it. I have a 17-month-old and she is awesome. But I think she is in my husband, Bo, he also works in athletics as well. And so we have a crazy lifestyle. We might be just passing each other here and there. But I think she's like the ground for us. And obviously she's the reason we do everything. She's amazing. And so is my husband. But they are like my rocks. They just honestly are so supportive. I mean, I don't know how supportive a 16-month can be, but she loves, going to games and watching games, seeing our student athletes. And so I think just having her is so important, and because it helps you stay balanced, it brings into perspective what's important in life. And, obviously my family is the most important thing. And so it's fun, we're able to go support each other at games, and she loves to come around. She's really big into football right now. That's her favorite sport. She wants to put it on TV. It's hilarious. But so we're just, I think in a great position that we have such a great family-like atmosphere on our campus. And, we allow our coaches to bring their families. We want our support staff to bring families around. We want that environment. And I think it's a really great thing for our student athletes to see as well. You can do everything. You can have a career, you can be a mom, you can be a wife or a husband, and you can do it all. And there is a balance to it. But I think if you have the right people around you and the support staff, it can definitely be done.
I wonder how many ADs out there are that have a 17-month-old that are women. Do you have any mentors out there that are doing this?
I don't know for sure, but I do. There are a lot of women that have their kids and they're on the sideline. I know we've got a couple athletic trainers, and so we'll see little girls running around at practices, shagging balls and whatnot. And so I think it's important that we allow that, we support that, and we help each other out during those times.
Final question for you. What's been the most rewarding part of this journey to date?
Oh man, I think for me is seeing the success of the student athletes, seeing the success of the coaches, that just brings me so much joy, especially during the hiring process when you're hiring a coach, or the conversations you have with coaches and student athletes, and they talk about the goals they have and things they want to accomplish, and then you see that come to fruition. That's just so rewarding. I think last week, our men's soccer coach, he was hired around the same time that I was as our assistant. And so we've gotten to know each other through the years. And in his 5-year plan, when he became our head men's soccer coach, talked about how, he wants to be the winningest coach in program history. And so seeing that come to fruition last week was just really, really exciting, because he set out a plan, he had goals, steps, and they've really grown that program into a powerhouse. And so I think for me, it's just seeing that type of thing come to life, and how can I continue to be of assistance? How can I take down barriers or challenges so that they can go out there and accomplish the goals for their program and their student athletes, and ultimately see success and compete at the highest level possible.
Aleesha, thank you so much for your time and continued success.
Thank you. I appreciate it.